something unusual may be unfolding behind the scenes of the growing conflict in the Middle East. According to several U.S. intelligence sources, there are concerns that Russia may be helping Iran identify American military targets in the region. If those reports are accurate, the implications could be significant. It could mean that one of the world's major military powers is indirectly assisting Iran in a conflict that already involves the United States and its allies. That possibility alone is raising serious questions inside defense circles in Washington. Because if a country like Russia begins sharing sensitive intelligence during an active conflict, it could dramatically change the strategic balance on the battlefield. But before jumping to conclusions, it is important to carefully examine what officials are actually saying and what remains unconfirmed. The reports come from multiple U.S. officials who are familiar with recent intelligence assessments. According to those sources, Russia may have shared
our main push is
information with
here
Iran
at the
about
river.
the movements and
Understood, sir.
locations
Flanks
of American
covered by units
military
here and here.
forces
Yes, sir.
operating across parts of the Middle East. That information could potentially include details about U.S. troop positions, naval deployments, and military aircraft stationed throughout the region. For any military operation, information like that can be extremely valuable. Knowing where an opponent's forces are located, even approximately, can influence planning, targeting decisions, and timing. Some analysts believe the intelligence in question may come from Russia's satellite surveillance systems.
Good afternoon. We have important updates to share on the ongoing situation. Our team is working diligently to resolve the issues.
These systems can track ship movements, detect aircraft activity, and monitor large military installations. Even limited information gathered from space-based surveillance could provide Iran with a clearer understanding of where American forces might be positioned. However, officials emphasize a critical point. At this stage, it remains unclear how much information, if any, Russia may have shared. No confirmed evidence that any specific Iranian attack was Russian intelligence. But the possibility itself has raised alarms inside the U.S. government, because the Middle East
Command,
is already
Unit 1,
experiencing
target
one of the
acquired,
most
holding
volatile
position.
security
Copy,
situations
proceeding
in
with
recent
caution.
years. The current wave of tensions began escalating after the United States and Israel carried out strikes targeting Iranian military infrastructure. Those operations were described by officials as an effort to weaken Iran's military capabilities and prevent future attacks. Iran responded quickly. Within days, Iranian forces launched a series of drone and missile strikes targeting American and allied facilities.
Get the cover!
Copy that, moving!
Behind the sandbags, now!
Ballistic missiles traveling across multiple countries. Air defense systems deployed by the United States and its partners.
This is a breaking news alert. We are following a rapidly developing situation. Officials have just released an urgent statement. Move! Get him to the helo! Watch the sand! Keep it steady! Up the ramp, now!
The attack killed several American service members and injured others. For many observers, that moment marked a dangerous turning point because it demonstrated how rapidly a regional conflict can lead to direct casualties among U.S. troops. And whenever American personnel are killed overseas, the risk
New
of further
contact,
escalation
Sector 3,
rises
confirmed,
dramatically.
speed 600
Since
knots.
then, the
Track it
situation has
closely.
continued to intensify. Iran has launched hundreds of drones and missiles in retaliation for earlier strikes. American and allied defense systems have worked around the clock to intercept incoming threats. But the sheer volume of attacks has created an atmosphere of extreme tension. Each new launch forces air defense units to react within seconds, and every interception carries the risk that something could slip through. At the same time, the conflict is no longer confined to a single country. Projectiles launched by Iran have crossed through the airspace of several neighboring nations. In Jordan, for example, air defense
We are fully
systems
prepared to
have
defend our
intercepted
borders
drones
against
and
any
missiles
threat.
that pass through
Our
the country's
commitment to regional
skies.
stability is unwavering.
Jordanian authorities say they acted to protect their territory and prevent potential damage on the ground. Elsewhere, areas connected to the U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet in Bahrain have also faced threats. These incidents highlight
We cannot
how
delay.
quickly
The
a
resolution
regional
must pass now.
conflict can
Economic
spill
clauses are
across
unacceptable.
borders.
Security
And
depends
once
on it.
multiple
We need
countries
consensus
become
is key.
involved, whether intentionally or unintentionally, the situation becomes far more complex. Another major concern involves one of the most strategically important waterways in the world, the Strait of Hormuz. This narrow passage connects the Persian Gulf to global shipping routes. It is one of the most critical energy corridors on the planet. Every single day, millions of barrels of oil pass through this channel. Tankers carrying liquefied natural gas travel through this water on their way to markets across Asia, Europe, and beyond. Because of that, any disruption in the Strait of Hormuz can have immediate consequences for the global economy. Even the perception of
Anything
danger
on the horizon?
in the area can cause
Scanning
ripple
now.
effects in energy markets.
Wait, I see
As
something.
tensions have increased, shipping companies and governments have become increasingly concerned about the security of vessels traveling through the region. Some ships have reported suspicious activity near the strait. Others have taken precautionary measures.
OPEC news breaking:
including
output hike.
rerouting or
Brent's
delaying
dipping,
voyages.
but tensions could spike it.
Global energy
Middle East
traders
flare-up
are watching
incoming.
the situation closely. Oil prices have already shown signs of volatility as markets react to the uncertainty. Energy analysts warn that if shipping traffic through the strait were significantly disrupted, even for a short period, it could drive fuel prices higher around the world. While all of this is unfolding, attention has increasingly turned toward the role of outside powers, and that brings the reports about Russia across the focus. Over the past several years, Russia and Iran have grown closer both politically and militarily. The relationship became particularly visible during the war in Ukraine. During that conflict, Iran supplied Russia with large numbers of drones. Those drones were later used in attacks against Ukrainian infrastructure and military targets. Now, some analysts believe Russia may be returning the favor. Unlike Iran, Russia possesses a highly developed intelligence infrastructure. Its satellite systems, electronic monitoring capabilities, and global surveillance networks allow it to track military activity across vast regions.
Resolution is
If
excellent.
Russia
I
were
can
to
see
share
runway
even
details.
limited intelligence
Aircraft on the
with Iran,
tarmac,
it
counting
could
them
provide
now.
capabilities that
The
Iran
cyber
might
threats
not
are
otherwise
evolving
have
rapidly.
access
And
to.
climate change is a
That
major factor.
possibility
We
is
need
what
global
concerns
cooperation
many
to mitigate
security
risks.
experts. Even partial information, such as satellite imagery or movement patterns, could help improve the accuracy of targeting decisions.
No.
But it is also important to note that Russia has not confirmed any such intelligence sharing. Officials in Moscow have not publicly acknowledged the reports. In fact, Russian statements about the situation have been limited and often vague. Meanwhile, U.S. defense
Good afternoon.
officials
The
have
operation has
attempted to
secured the
reassure
area.
the
We are
public
assisting
that the
civilians.
American
General, any
military
civilian
is aware of
casualties?
the
None
potential
reported at this
risks.
time.
According to
Activity
those
confirmed
officials,
in the Gulf
U.S.
region.
commanders
UAV feed is
closely
live on
monitor
screen.
intelligence
Copy that.
activity
Monitoring now.
across the Middle East.
Let's move!
They
Double
say
time!
American forces
On
are
it. Watch the
constantly
ramp!
adjusting their operational strategies
Next one, let's
in
go.
response to new threats. This includes relocating assets, strengthening defenses, and increasing surveillance in
The
key
perimeter
areas.
fence is vulnerable here.
Military
I see. We need to
planners are
reinforce
also
that.
reviewing
Agreed.
potential
And secure the armory.
vulnerabilities in case outside intelligence support is being provided to adversaries. But the broader geopolitical implications remain significant. If intelligence sharing between Russia and Iran were confirmed, it would represent a deeper level of
Standoff
cooperation
continues.
between the
We
two
must be ready.
countries.
Contact!
And it would signal
Fire!
that
Push
global
forward!
rivalry is beginning to play out more
Advance! Push
directly
forward!
within regional conflicts.
Engage the
Decades,
tank!
the Middle East has often served as a stage where larger geopolitical tensions unfold. But the involvement of additional major powers could make the situation far more complicated. Because once multiple global players become indirectly involved, the risks of miscalculation increase. Small incidents can suddenly have much larger consequences.
The screen is flooded with
A drone
contacts.
strike, a
I
naval
can't make sense of the
encounter,
data.
or even a
Get a
mistaken
filter on that now.
identification could escalate rapidly. Several countries are operating in the same environment. Right now, the conflict remains unpredictable. Military operations continue across multiple areas of the region. New developments are emerging almost daily. Diplomatic efforts are also underway behind the scenes. International leaders have
The
called
reports
for
are
restraint
concerning.
in negotiations
I agree.
in hopes
We must
of
proceed
preventing
carefully.
the
A
situation
summit is
from
essential.
expanding into a wider war. Some governments are working through back-channel communications to reduce the risk of further escalation. But for the moment, tensions remain high, and the key questions remain unanswered. How much intelligence, if any, has actually been shared between Russia and Iran? Has any of that information already influenced events on the battlefield? And perhaps most importantly, could this conflict draw even more global powers into the region? Those questions may ultimately shape the next phase of this crisis. For now, the world is watching closely as events continue to unfold in one of the most strategically important regions on Earth. Because the decisions made in the coming weeks and the actions taken by the countries involved could determine whether tensions begin to ease, or whether the conflict moves towards something far more serious.